I get people to join my team, and I tell them flat out at the end of the day, I want you to be better than me.
Correct.
But now I'm sitting here listening to this like, okay, yes, I do want you to be better than me, but where do we keep the line? Yes, I want you to be better than me, but I'm still the captain of the ship. I don't want to come off like I'm the captain of the ship. I do want your input. I'm super this. So where is that fine line of like, okay, I want you to be better. I want you to be better than me, but there's still a pecking order that we have to respect on both sides. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be when you're watching this or listening to this or both. This is your first time here. You have just reached the best damn podcast you have ever heard or seen before in your whole life. Again, if this is your first time here, we are known as Old Guys Still Rock, better yet, OGSR. And today we have broken another barrier. We are in episode number 150. It's 150. Now I want you to look up all the podcasts that have been generated in this world, and you tell me how many out of all of them have hit 150 episodes. So we may not be the biggest and greatest, but we are continuing to grow every single week. We are continuing to change lives, not only other people's lives, but our lives as well every single week. So if it's your first time here, we have 149 episodes besides this one. So this is 150. Go back, check us out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If it's Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, iHeart, whatever you listen to your podcast or watch your podcast on, just hit that subscribe button right now. And then now we're going to get into it. So again, I am Blair.
Go back and watch that train wreck first episode.
Yeah, watch that one first. And then go watch episode 149 and see how much we've evolved.
Exactly.
So again, if you don't know who I am, I'm Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker. You kind of see that behind me. I am a global luxury specialist in the world of residential real estate located in the beautiful, beautiful Coachella Valley. That is basically Palm Springs, Palm Desert, La Quinta, Indio, Rancho Mirage, somewhere, somehow. Most of you have been there, have heard about it. So if you are since we don't have sponsors or advertisers, if you are looking in the world of real estate in this area or even outside this area, because we are global, reach out to me. I'd love to help you out with that. That's how you could support us in this show. So the other guy on this episode has been a good friend of mine for, gosh darn, over 30 years, almost 30 years. Brett Wright of Brett Wright Incorporated. He is the other host of this show. He is located in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. I don't know if it's raining. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But man with many hats. And this is kind of why we continue to touch people's lives and give them golden nuggets. So multiple business owner, from body shops to detail shops to payroll companies. He is the financier. I said financier, not owner, of Right Wellness Center. If you're in that Eugene, Springfield area and you're looking for a new way to get healthy, actually probably a better way to get healthy, not only working out, but with peptides and Farm Forever achievement, cold plunges, all the things that you're hearing about now, go check out Right Wellness Center. He is also a part of a venture capitalist group that bought a company called BustedTees.com, the novelty t-shirt company. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. By the way, everything that I mentioned here are not paid sponsors as of yet. But I think the biggest feather that Brent has in his cap, and you'll hear that today, and I said go back and watch 149 episodes minus episode number 1, is really check him out because he's a great personal coach and a great business coach. And you'll see that through today's episode and again in all the other episodes that we have there. I jokingly say this, but if he's not a fit for you, you can always call me. So that was a big intro this morning. We're going to get into our topic here, which is we're going to really talk about ego for a little bit. First of all, I want to see how you're doing, what's going on in your world, how's the weather, how's Busted Tees, what is going on?
Yeah, so the weather is bipolar in the springtime, as it always is in Oregon. It seems to be a little more bipolar this year. Last week we had 80-degree weather, 82, 83, 84, and this week we're in the 40s and 50s. And we've had some weird wind patterns. Yesterday, there was almost a little mini tornado up at the ranch. Super weird. Knocked over 3 chairs, left 8.
That's just trippy, right?
Like one right next to it didn't get knocked over, but 3 others next to that got knocked over. The whole thing was weird. We had 35, 40 mile an hour winds last night, and then all of a sudden the rain came in and it just dumped. And we have skylights in our bedroom, so it's very peaceful to sleep to. But knowing that all the cows are not happy being out in that weather. So yep. But yeah, we're
Do they typically try to find shelter, or do they just out there just...
They're dumb, dude. Like, they have shelter, but they will stand half in and half out of the shelter. I don't even understand it. Like, it's just,
not in their DNA.
Yeah. I would tell you the only dumber animal is sheep. You can give them a shelter and they won't even go under it.
That's crazy. Huh.
Yeah,
wow.
Super weird. But yeah, business is good. Cash flow is working. My coaching business has been very fruitful just from the ability to help people. My current coaching clients are actually having me coach their employees now. So I'm coaching the coach, and then the coach is having me coach other people under them, which is super cool.
That's awesome, right?
Very, very, very rewarding. And on our topic today, had an opportunity yesterday to interact with one of my coaching clients who had to have hard conversations with his employee. And it kind of went how I thought it was going to go. I don't think it went how my client wanted it to go or thought it was going to go.
Right.
And the biggest impasse was this person's ego.
Yeah.
They felt as if they were all that in a bag of chips, as the saying goes. And they found out very, very quickly that business owners don't like to be strong-armed, and it didn't go well for that person. So ego, it could be a good or bad thing.
So yeah.
Fuel or fire.
Yeah, right. So episode number 150, ego, right? You just got this stuff of this life and business. Is it fuel or fire? So when you hear that word, and because I know that it's different with everybody, we'd have 1,000 different answers if we asked 1,000 different people what ego would be. So when you hear ego, what do you think of? What does it bring up in your mind?
Well, in my mind, ego is a good thing and can be a bad thing. It's as the notes that we shared with each other. It's built empires and it's also burned them to the ground, right? Yeah. So we've seen it historically with kings, with rulers. We see it today in our politics, right? So a lot of people like Trump's ego, and a lot of people don't like Trump's ego. I think to be a good leader, you have to have some level of ego, but it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And the question that comes up is, are you using your ego as a tool, or is it using you as a tool?
Yeah, and I think that's where you go back to, especially let's go back to your business conversation, and then we'll get into relationship portion of this as well, right? But on the business side of it, I mean, you can go ahead and have this giant ego to where you're here to serve me.
And that was the conversation yesterday.
Yeah, and that is not going to go over well, because as soon as you kind of come under that, you're here to serve me, which in essence, the employee is there to enhance the owner's business. But when you come off with that and you kind of state that and maybe pump up your chest and it's, this is about me, you wouldn't be here without me, blah, 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 blah.
Your business will fail without me was the topic of conversation yesterday.
From the employee to the boss?
From the employee to the boss, yeah. And that's a tough road.
That is a tough road. Obviously, you can probably enhance as you know more about the situation that could help a lot of people out on that. But that's a tough road. Somewhere along the line, he was given some responsibility and led to believe that he was more important. I'm not saying that this employee wasn't important, but he was more important than he really is. And
Well, we're all replaceable, right? So
Well, yeah, we're one decision away, right?
we're always. And what's the first thing that happens as soon as you die? You're replaced by something or someone, right? Or people start divvying up your crap, right? And so, it's your ego is only it only works while you're there.
So let's walk me through this conversation because I think I love this. Owner is grooming their star employee
Mm-hmm.
and getting them up to kind of building leadership into them. Maybe even having a servant leadership mindset. Don't know
Yeah.
the scenario. I'm just kind of guessing out here.
Yep.
But having this servant leader mindset to it really wants them. When we talked about this last week, I get people to join my team and I tell them flat out at the end of the day, I want you to be better than me.
Correct.
But now I'm sitting here listening to this like, okay, yes, I do want you to be better than me, but where do we keep the line is at the end of the day, yes, I want you to be better than me, but I'm still the captain of the ship. I don't want to come off like I'm the captain of the ship. I do want your input. I'm super this. So where is that fine line of like, okay, I want you to be better. I want you to be better than me, but there's still a pecking order that we have to respect on both sides. How did you coach through that?
Well, it didn't. So I think I coached reasonably well. Unfortunately, this employee became adversarial and very aggressive and dropped 4-letter adjectives throughout the conversation and then got up, slammed the door, and drove out of the parking lot in a blaze of glory.
That was it.
And that was it. Ultimately, this person's pride and ego drove all of their responses. So again, remember, ego is just a tool. Right. So you could have set back, this employee could have set back and took the feedback and then used it and applied it to the situation to get a better outcome, but instead chose to burn it to the ground. We talk about burning things to the ground, right? And back to our subject, is it fuel or is it fire? This employee chose to use it as fire and lit the whole place on fire.
We talked about too, is there some sense that of kind of what your surroundings are, that somehow what we see or what we're witness to or what we witness, entitlement involved somewhere along the line there?
Mm-hmm.
That they see all these things, they see all these people that get these responses, your good job, and maybe the end customers are saying, hey man, you're amazing, it's one of the best things that's happened to this company, and all of a sudden they start taking over ownership role to where they feel like, I'm running the show, if he wasn't here I could do this and this and this. How, as you, so with that being said, I'm thinking this out loud, with that being said is, when that employee feels like they really are taking on their ownership role, how do you as a boss come back to that employee and say, man, you are doing a good job, I really need you? What type of the feedback to help us become better?
Well, it's all polishing, right? And so you have to want to be polished.
Right.
Again, utilizing ego as a tool, it's not just arrogance, it's identity, self-perception, and pride. And we've done a podcast about pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes you proud. Sometimes pride will get in your way. And with this situation, pride was the driver for the whole conversation. It was, you can't do this without me. You need me. You need to take the things that I'm bringing to you and act on them. And when you don't act on them, I'm offended. And that's an unhealthy ego, right? So a healthy ego is confidence, standards, and self-respect. An unchecked or unhealthy ego is insecurity disguised as dominance. So that's what happened in this situation, is this person tried to assert their dominance in the conversation because they're insecure. They're an insecure person who needs validation at every turn. And when they don't get the validation, they lash out.
Okay, in this scenario, since we don't know who we're talking about, is in this scenario, the employee was so good, even though that he kind of had these dust ups probably once in a while, that the owner said, man, I'm just going to kind of let this slide. It's their personality. I'll figure it out later, and just let it build and build and build to the point.
And it built to the point that it was breaking, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the problem, is that unchecked ego really will kill the deal for anybody.
Right.
So, the old saying, silence is golden. And so that's how you check your ego, is be inquisitive. We talk about being curious like a 4-year-old.
Mhm.
This person wasn't curious. They didn't care. They did not take the feedback well, and they felt like any feedback was adversarial. And to the same point, one of our talking points is most men don't have too much ego. They have fragile egos. And this person's ego was broken very, very quickly because the conversation started out as carrot, stick, right? And so the carrot was, you're doing a great job, but here's a write up, a formal write up on 3 things that need to be checked at the door. And that went reasonably well. But then we're going to step you back into a different role. And in that different role means that you're going to lose some pay. That sent this person into an escalation where they didn't even want to hear that there were opportunities for them to get that pay back based upon checks and balances. And their ego was so large in the room that it overpowered everything, including their ability to think and rationalize that this might be an opportunity for them.
What's the question going into this? I mean, trying to keep egos at bay with everything and understand that there's probably a backstory to this guy that's been kind of kicked and pushed around on the backside, and he comes to work and feel like this is kind of his purpose. And then when this is presented to him, it's like, God, no one really understands how much I want to give, and I just keep getting told no, 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 and that can break an ego. But was there a purpose along this process? Was there a question asking, how do you think that you're doing? What are some of the things that are your strong points, and what are some of the things that you think are your weak points that you need help on? Was that conversation?
Well, yeah. So we had that conversation, and there were a lot of strong points, as always, right?
Sure.
And there were no weak points brought up. He was very easy to bring up strong points and not so easy to bring up failures or things that he needed to work on. So I would tell you that you probably need to create a list. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? A typical SWOT exercise, right?
Right.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Right.
People that don't think along those lines and validate their existence based upon a SWOT analysis in a company are always going to feel like that they're giving more than they're getting. And that's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I just keep going back to this. I mean, because this happens so much in business, right? I mean, this is not just a one-off thing. This happens every day in business, every day in relationships, whatever to it. But I always go back to what we talk about so many times and have multiple episodes in this on communication. Somewhere along the line, it got we stopped raising the thermostat. It got comfortable on both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides. I mean, I did stand to it. And then you realize that I got too comfortable, and now I have to kind of hold not only my feet if I'm the boss to the fire, but I also have to hold a team member or an employee's feet to the fire as well. We need to make some adjustments because it's might have got too far down the path, and you're trying to make some fourth quarter adjustments when it should have been made in the second quarter, right?
It's hard to pull anything back away from people once you give it, right? And the problem is that this person's ego it took over anything rational. It became so large that it was fuel to the fire instead of fuel in a positive way. Ego is a big destroyer of people. I mean, let's look into history. Napoleon, little man, huge ego. And his ego ultimately destroyed not only him, but his empire.
Well, we could talk about another one just happened recently. I mean, realistically, we'll talk about politics. Again, if you like or don't like Trump, his ego is getting in his way. Yeah. His people around him are feeding that and not really his message. If you peel back to me, again, I'm not siding with him one way or another, but if you peel back his message, I think there's actually some care in there. But the people surrounding him are feeding that ego, so he keeps thinking he's doing the right thing over and over again. Another portion of that, which really just happened over there, we've seen the rise of a fall of one of the greatest golfers ever in Tiger Woods, right?
Yeah. Yep.
His people around him, and all the accolades that he got. I mean, realistically, we probably will never see another golfer that changed the game in such a way that he did. But the decisions because he's seen greatness, he's tasted greatness, he's been in greatness, and now things are starting to disintegrate, but his ego will not let that go. And he's making decisions that are not only harmful for himself, but potentially harmful for others as well.
It's a wake. So no different than a boat. A boat at speed produces a wake, and that wake can either be a positive thing if you're a wakeboarder, or a negative thing if you're a skier, right? And so it's the wake that happens, it's the fallout that happens behind all of this. So the problem with ego as a destroyer, it's real easy to point out the positive things of ego. We see people, rise to power and all those things, but ego as a destroyer, people stop learning. They think they know everything, which has happened yesterday in our conversation with that employee. It kills relationships. Pride is greater than connection, which happened again in that conversation. It killed the relationship between that employer and that employee. It can destroy businesses. People that don't listen to customers anymore, ignoring team input, refusing to pivot.
Yeah, that's a big one, right?
Yeah. And we're seeing pivoting necessary in today's economic environment. People that don't pivot and stay static are going to die. And we've seen it in small businesses across the board. Pick something, right? So you're seeing laundromats who have been in business for 50 years and they're not pivoting. And you're seeing laundromats now have, what do you call it? Like a music night. They're having free food there. They're driving people in. And then there's other people who are we're just a laundromat. We're not a place for people to hang out. Well, what do you do for an hour and a half while your stuff gets washed, right?
Right.
And so people sit on their phones. And now they're seeing other opportunities to go somewhere and do something while their clothes are being washed. You must pivot in business. It's no different. If I just continue to detail cars and clean cars and I didn't pivot into ceramic coating and I didn't pivot into PPF coating and I didn't pivot into headlight restoration, I would just be the guy that cleans cars.
Right.
And I would never make any money and I would eventually die.
Right.
Same thing that's happened in the body shop industry. The insurance portion of the body shop industry is dying. I saw this 10 years ago and we pivoted into restoration and the fabrication. And that's been a huge driver. If I had let my ego go unchecked, I would say, I'm the best body shop in town.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be the best body shop. And then I'm going to die because there's other good body shops in town that are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. And how do you differentiate yourself if you choose not to differentiate yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the only way is to die.
You brought this up to me a couple of years ago because obviously real estate agents are they're like insurance agents, right? There's a lot of us everywhere. But what is differentiating your stuff like this? And even though that you may have a really good quarter, you may have a really good year, that can change drastically quick. And you said something. I'm gonna give you the thing that's sticking out, but be an agent of change. Like real estate is always changing. I'm an agent of change. You said that to me a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that should be your tagline, is what I told you, right?
And so we're constantly we're trying to do different things. Social media, yes, you can talk about selling houses, but where are you becoming a resource? And that's what our constant conversation with us is that we do good. We do really, really good. I mean, on paper, if you look to us, we'll go pound for pound for probably in the top 10% of our area. That's awesome to know. But I also have learned very well that could change drastically overnight. It could all go away with one decision or thinking that you're the best. I will flat out say, we do a really good job, but we're also looking to get better at the same time. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, but I know that we have a long way to go. And that's a hard thing when things are super comfortable and you have a bunch of stuff that's right now we're in a really good spot. But I know that we have to okay, this is great right now. What do I have to change starting right now? So when this ride gets over, this thing that we're in right now, this great storm that we're having right now, when this gets over, how are we going to transition to become better? And that we can keep this, in essence, on a constant upswing. We know that there's going to be peaks and valleys on that stuff, but what are the changes that we're making now? What are on the losses that we had how are we absorbing those losses, and then how are we paying attention to those so we can make the adjustments so the next time that thing comes available, we were never greater than that situation, but we learned from it and became greater. That makes sense?
Yeah, 100%. So what you're saying, to summarize what you're saying is that you're still listening.
Yeah.
You still have your ear to the ground and you're listening, right? Ego, if you had a big ego in this and said, I'm the best of the best, and that's just it, period, ego would make you deaf. And business punishes deaf leaders. How many men do you know that have lost everything because they wouldn't admit that they're wrong? Percent. You don't end up in the back of a 79 Chevy pickup living in it because you listened to everything that everybody said and tried to adjust, right?
Right.
Why is I was wrong one of the hardest things for most people to say?
When I made my bad decisions probably about 6 years ago, and lived in a 13 by 13 square foot box. Essence, it was a room on a very used mattress. My ego got in the way, and I had to not only own that, but I had to reach out to people that were not a part of it and make some massive apologies, because they helped me along the way to get to the spot that I was at, and my decisions washed it all away.
Yeah.
And so all their hard work, even though that this decision did not essentially affect them, it was a slap in their face. Like, everything that all this time that we spent with you, and you made this decision that basically said F you in so many ways. Those were hard conversations, massively hard, because I know that even though that maybe it didn't affect them emotionally or financially and all that stuff to it, it was a disrespect, and that was a massive blow to my ego. And so now going into things like this, I could be the number one agent in this valley right now, but that doesn't make me any better than the next agent down there.
Well, let's go back to our conversation when you were in that box.
Yeah.
You were literally calling me.
Yeah.
Laying on the mattress.
Yeah.
In the dark room, and you said, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah.
And I said, are you going to let this moment define you or help to motivate you? You're going to stop talking about where you're at, or are you going to start talking about where you're going to go? And I don't know that you made that decision that day. I think it was a few weeks later, probably 6 weeks later, you called me and said, all right, I'm done with my pity party.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to get out of this box.
And to this day, man, I have those conversations with myself every day.
Right. So do I.
Every day.
I drive past that 79 Chevy pickup every morning. And I've said this 150 episodes now. Every morning I drive past that 79 Chevy pickup. And it's a reminder. It's a humbling reminder of where I've been and where I want to go, and what I need to check at the door every single morning to make sure that I don't end up there again. Boy, so I'm going to give you, what's that?
I'm reliving all that situation. I remember the phone call. I remember where I was at, and there's just, the world's crashing around you. Like, mother trucker, what did you just do? And and I always go, totally different scenario, but kind of the same sense is, I was bigger than everybody else.
Well, you probably had this thought, is my identity is built on what I have and where I'm at. And with that, ego will always be in control. Always, right? Until it's not. Yeah. Until you make the decision that ego is not going to control your narrative any longer.
No, it's tough. When you're winning and things are flowing and you're getting accolades, I'll give you a different scenario. We get invited to pretty much every month. Maybe we'll miss one or two, but it's not there. But we get invited to top 10 luncheons out of our brokerage every month. I have a hard time going because in my head, I say this a lot. You guys have heard this, especially if you guys have stuck with this through our 150 episodes. Job not done. Mm-hmm. Because my goal is here. This was just another step to that goal. Should I enjoy that win? Sure. But I go back to remember I don't want to think that I'm finished. And it goes back to that 13 by 13 room with on the mattress talking to you. I never want to. I'm happy for what we want to, but I don't want that ego that basically crushed me, licking the gutter moment that crushed me to seep back in.
Yeah.
I want to be hungry every day. And I always tell people, oh, how's real estate? I go, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's dumb. Today is a fun day. Tomorrow could be a dumb day. But right now is we're going to constantly figure out how to get better and better and better, because that portion of my life, and I think that's what you said, I may have not made that change right away, but that there's still that spot in my soul that, as well as we're doing the biggest wins that we've had to date, I will never let that define who I am, because if I got to that point, that means I can get to another point, and I keep searching, and it's super, super hard.
Well, here's a question to ask yourself. And this is the question you might be asking yourself every day. If your business or your life disappeared tomorrow, would you still know who you are?
Yeah, now I would.
Right. But before you probably didn't.
No.
Yep.
No, now I do. It's our 40, it's our conversations. The reason why we did this podcast, right? All these conversations that we would have, and we're having bad days, and we're trying to figure stuff out and stuff. And that's really, that's the reason why we really started this podcast, is because these are life-changing moments. These are stuff that we go into, we get stuck in a loop. We just talk about this over again. And it really, why this topic of today, which I really love that you came up with and shared some notes on this, is that it reignites that fire. It's like, yes, carry your ego, but carry it the right way.
It's just a tool in the toolbox.
And use it. People love to see confidence. People love to see confidence when I'm sitting down there talking.
Confidence is different than ego.
Right? But how blurry is that line once in a while?
It's very, very blurry. So I'm going to give you some tools to unblur this, some practical framework, if you will, some clarity. So number one, stay teachable. Always be the dumbest guy in the room. I've actually used that in conversations.
Yeah.
Talk to me like I'm the dumbest guy in the room, because I might be in this subject. Number two, invite truth. Build people around you who will challenge you. You and I are always challenging each other. Number three, separate emotion from decision. Go back to the 4 decision-making process that's hanging on my wall. We've talked about it in prior episodes. Reach out to me if you want to know what those are and talk about those. Ego reacts, leaders respond. So you got to separate your emotion from every decision. Number 4, practice humility under pressure. Even the pressure of winning. Because there is a lot of pressure when you're winning too, not just when you're losing. Ask this daily question, number 5. Am I trying to be right, or am I trying to win long term? I ask this question often in another context. Do I want it to be done my way, or do I just want it to be done?
Right? Because your way, again, win. My way is always working. Don't come to me with your idea. Because it's my way or the highway.
Here's some questions for you. We'll do a little Q&A.
Okay.
Employee pushes back on you. Ego or leadership?
There is opportunities for leadership in there, but there is going to be ego, like, dude, you have no idea. And not asking the right questions, your ego will push that person or build a wall between you and that person.
Well, what's the first thing a boss usually says when an employee pushes back? I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Right? It's an opportunity for leadership. Customer complaint. Do you defend or do you listen?
Past, defend.
Yeah.
Now we're listening. And I'm still working on that a lot, because I go into defense mode. I think everybody does, especially when you're coming to a spot where that you have the right knowledge, and they're seeing it from 10,000 feet when you're looking at it from 50 feet. And you sit there to defend. So now I actually just had this experience a couple weeks ago. We have the most expensive house here in Ironwood right now. And I had the owner and his wife and his daughter in the conference room, and they were they were just questioning, pressing. And I literally just sat there for 10 minutes while they were telling me stuff. And it was a lot, because there's a lot part of me like, no, we're doing this, and this. And when I went back to, and I just sat back and listened, and I said, I understand that. That makes sense. I can see where you're seeing that. And I really listened for a little bit, and I answered, I said, I heard what you said, this, and this. Are you open for me to kind of give you back some responses or some ideas that I have with that? Long story short, it was supposed to be a 30-minute conversation. It turned into a 2-hour conversation. There was a lot of great things. The great thing about this, built a better relationship between us, right? At the end of the day.
Listening builds rapport, right?
Right. And so I had that. And then she texted me, the daughter texted me afterwards, and she goes, I really appreciate you just listening to us, to what our concerns were, and then how you gave us the responses. She goes, thank you very much for that. That meant a lot. And that was huge. And then again, so here you go back to, I'm really good at listening. And your ego comes like, okay, just take this as a learning thing. Yes, you're learning to become a better listener. You may suck on the other side of another situation of it, but take that and remember how you do that, and then go back and then train your staff, train your team members, train yourself into a personal relationships of sometimes you just need to shut up, even though that you may be 1000% right. And so that's a hard part when you are constantly winning, you've had success. You might have been in the game for 20 something years, but someone has a response and you responsibly like, well, I didn't become number one on accident. Well, okay, number one is fleeting. You can be a champion.
There's a time and place for that discussion,
right?
And it may not be in every conversation. So here's one for you, which is really common right now in our economic times. Business downturn, blame or adapt. Blame the economy sucks, everybody's sucking, everybody's fighting it. Or do you go, what can I do to adapt?
Yeah, we definitely have to adapt. And there's also massive teaching moments in there and different insights. And I'm approaching that one right now is, this is what I'm seeing. And I understand what everybody else is seeing, but this is really what I'm seeing. I'm boots on the ground here. So, this is what I'm seeing. I'm not sure that it's correct. I'm sure starting to see a lot of it. There's a trend there. This is what we're following at this time. So we'll go back to this end too. Yes, we have to adapt.
Well, as the saying goes, adapt or die, right?
Right.
So you must adapt. So last one, partner disagreement, control or collaborate?
1000%.
But you want to control.
You want to control it.
Yeah, everything that in your body, into your soul wants to control the situation.
Going through that right now too.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a good question today, man. I'm like, I have a scenario for every single one.
Right.
But I'm sure that I'm not the only one, right? I mean, everyone has this. It's just, there's certain things. And I, again, love, that's, one of the many reasons I love our friendship and our collaboration in so many different ways is having these conversations really spurs and puts things on top of mind awareness. There's some stuff that I know I have to go back in because I do want to control. I want to have a standard. I want that standard to change every single day. And some people are not ready to have that standard in their life. So how do you collaborate with that and not let your ego get in the way? Yeah.
Well, your standards aren't theirs, right? So, in summary, I think we could both agree that ego isn't the enemy. But it's a fickle mistress and a terrible master, right? So don't let it own you, guys.
Yeah.
The goal isn't to eliminate ego. It's to put it in its place. Use it as a tool. Use it as an opportunity moment. Because the same thing that can build your life can destroy it if you don't lead it first.
What we talk about often, it just came into my mind, what we talk about often, this is not a quick fix. It is something you have to constantly work on. It's not that you're going to make some massive mistakes. And there's also going to be times you're going to have some massive wins. I will always go back to something that you do, something that I do is go back and journal about your day. What did you learn? What did I miss on? What do I have to go back on? What do I have to own an apology, even though that you were coming back with the best intentions and say this did not come out the right way?
Well,
I hear what
it's daily atonement, right? Daily accountability to every situation.
Just remember how
that's the toughest thing when you're running fast, right? So yeah. Yeah. Then make it important. Yeah. Well, that person needs to ask themselves the same questions that we brought up here today. Yeah. So final thoughts from me are: ask yourself today, where is ego helping me and where is it costing me? Evaluate that and then go make a damn difference.